For many years, humanity believed the galaxy had finally accepted them. Humans were not the strongest species. They were not the oldest. But they were honest. When the Galactic Council invited Earth to join the Alliance, humanity felt proud. This was the moment humans had waited for. Peace, cooperation, and shared futures among the stars. Human diplomats traveled across systems. They signed treaties. They shared technology that healed planets and fed billions. Human fleets slowly pulled back from border zones to show trust. Even old defense stations were shut down. Humanity believed peace required courage. The galaxy smiled back. Alien leaders praised humans in public. News channels called Earth a rising light. Refugee ships were allowed to land on human worlds. Humanity opened its cities and space stations. Food, water, medicine, everything was shared. Humans did not ask for loyalty. They only asked for peace. But behind closed doors, something dark was growing. Some alien powers saw humans differently. They did not see kindness. They saw weakness. To them, humanity's open hands looked like an unguarded throat. Secret meetings were held far from Earth. Fleets moved quietly. Weapons were positioned near human colonies. And then, without warning, the betrayal began. It started at the edge of human space. A mining colony went silent. No distress call. No explosions on scanners. Just silence. Hours later, a trade station vanished from the network. Then another. Panic spread among civilian channels. Human commanders tried to contact the Galactic Council. There was no reply. Then the attacks became impossible to ignore. Alien fleets jumped directly into human systems. They targeted supply routes, medical ships, and orbital cities. Not military bases. Not warships. Civilians. Millions of humans were trapped in space, watching enemy ships tear apart stations that had welcomed them weeks before. On Earth, screens filled with chaos. Families watched as distant lights vanished. Leaders stood frozen in command rooms. Reporters shouted questions no one could answer. The Galactic Council released a single statement, cold and short. Humanity has violated balance. This is correction. That sentence hit Earth harder than any weapon. Humanity had trusted them. Humanity had lowered its guard. And now the galaxy called it a mistake. For several minutes, Earth was completely silent. No speeches. No anger-filled broadcasts. No cries for revenge. Just silence. Then, in the deepest command chamber beneath Earth's surface, a single meeting took place. Old admirals stood beside young commanders. Scientists, engineers, and fleet masters listened carefully. A human commander looked at the stars on the screen. His voice was calm. They chose betrayal. No one argued. Another officer asked quietly, "Do we respond?" The commander did not raise his voice. He did not look angry. "Yes," he said. But not with words. Across Earth, something changed. Civilian traffic was quietly rerouted. Old shipyards, long thought abandoned, powered on for the first time in centuries. Deep space beacons that had been silent since humanity's early expansion began to glow again. Alien observers noticed something strange. Human space went quiet. No messages. No threats. No war declaration. The galaxy laughed. Alien leaders called humans broken. News networks mocked Earth's silence. Some claimed humanity had collapsed under fear. Others said humans would beg for forgiveness soon. But they were wrong. Very wrong. Deep beneath oceans and mountains, ancient hangars opened. Massive doors shifted after centuries of rest. Inside them were ships no one outside Earth had ever seen. Dark hulls, heavy armor, and designs built not for beauty, but for survival. Humanity had not forgotten war. They had simply outgrown the need to show it. As the first colossal vessel powered up, a single order was sent across all human space. It was short. It was clear. All fleets, return home. From distant systems, human ships turned around. From hidden locations, more ships awakened. The stars themselves seemed to hold their breath. The galaxy believed humanity was silent because it was weak. They did not realize the truth. Humanity was silent because it was preparing to speak in a language the stars would never forget. And soon, the galaxy would learn what happens when trust is betrayed, and humanity finally responds. The galaxy waited for humanity to scream. It waited for angry messages, desperate calls, and public threats. That was how wars usually began. Loud words. Long speeches. Big warnings sent across space. But none came. Human space remained quiet. No broadcasts from Earth. No fleet movements on public scanners. No emergency meetings streamed to the stars. To the outside galaxy, it looked like humanity had frozen in fear. Alien news channels mocked them. Humans have finally understood their place, one commentator said. They trusted the galaxy and paid the price, another laughed. In council halls, alien leaders relaxed. Some ordered celebrations. Others spoke openly about dividing human territory once the cleanup was finished. They believed the hardest part was already over. They did not understand one thing. Silence was not humanity's weakness. Silence was humanity's decision. On Earth, the mood was not panic. It was focus. Cities continued to function. Children still went to school. Factories still worked. But beneath the calm surface, every system was changing. Old emergency protocols, untouched for generations, were activated without announcement. Human leaders did not argue. They did not blame one another. The betrayal had already settled into their bones. What mattered now was response. Deep underground, massive data vaults unlocked. Inside were records of wars humanity hoped never to fight again. Tactics written after extinction-level battles. Fleet formations designed to face impossible odds. Human engineers studied them in silence. Far from Earth, beyond common star routes, forgotten shipyards came alive. These places were not marked on galactic maps. They were built long ago, when humanity was young and afraid of being erased. Back then, humans had learned an important lesson. If the galaxy ever turned against them, they would not survive by being loud. They would survive by being ready. One by one, colossal vessels began to awaken. They were not sleek. They were not elegant. They were built with one purpose, endurance. Their armor was thick. Their systems were layered. Their weapons were designed to function even when everything else failed. These ships did not broadcast identification codes. They did not announce their launch. They simply powered on. Alien scouts noticed unusual energy spikes in deep space. At first, they ignored them. Space was full of strange signals. But then more appeared. And more. Entire regions began showing distortions, as if gravity itself was being bent. Some alien commanders grew uneasy. They requested updates from the Galactic Council. There was no response. Inside human command centers, fleet masters watched star maps fill with blue markers. Each one represented a ship returning home. Each one meant another piece of the old human defense web coming back online. A young officer finally spoke. Should we warn them? The senior commander shook his head. They were warned, he said calmly. When they chose betrayal. Across the galaxy, alien fleets continued their operations. They attacked small human outposts, finding little resistance. Each victory made them more confident. They believed humanity was broken. But something strange was happening. Human systems were not collapsing. Supply lines adjusted. Evacuation routes worked flawlessly. Civilian casualties dropped sharply. It was as if humanity had planned for this exact moment long ago. That was when the first human fleet vanished from known space. Alien sensors tracked it leaving a system, then nothing. No warp trail. No signature. It was as if the ship had been swallowed by darkness itself. Then another disappeared. And another. Whispers spread through alien ranks. Some officers suggested caution. Others dismissed the concern. They believed humans were retreating into hiding. They could not imagine the truth. Humanity was not running. Humanity was gathering. In the deepest layer of Earth's command network, a final authorization was unlocked. It had not been touched since humanity's earliest expansion wars. A single phrase appeared on the screen. Stage 1, containment complete. The commander looked at the stars and allowed himself one quiet breath. The galaxy wanted silence, he said. So we gave it silence. Outside Earth, beyond the reach of common sensors, massive shadows moved. The storm was no longer coming. It was already there. The first alien fleet did not understand what it was seeing. Their scanners showed empty space ahead. No enemy ships. No energy spikes. No warning signals. Commanders relaxed, convinced the human resistance had finally ended. Then space itself began to bend. Stars stretched into thin lines. Light twisted. Gravity screamed across instruments. Before any alarm could be spoken, the darkness opened. A human warship emerged. It was massive. Not fast. Not elegant. Just overwhelming. Its hull was dark, scarred, and thick with layered armor. No glowing banners. No bright markings. Only small red lights pulsing like a slow, steady heartbeat. Behind it, more shapes followed. 1. 5. 20. Then hundreds. The alien fleet froze. This was not retreat. This was arrival. Human ships did not broadcast demands. They did not issue threats. They did not speak. They fired. The first volley erased the alien command ship in seconds. Shields collapsed like paper. Hulls cracked open. Entire vessels vanished in silent flashes of light. The vacuum of space swallowed the screams before they could travel. Alien formations broke apart. Some tried to retreat. Their engines failed. Human targeting systems had already locked on. Escape routes vanished under precise fire. These were not wild attacks. Every shot was planned. Every movement controlled. The galaxy had never seen war like this. Human ships advanced slowly, calmly, like a closing wall. Drones flooded space, cutting communications and blinding sensors. Alien fleets were left deaf and blind, reacting seconds too late to everything. Across multiple systems, the same scene repeated. Humanity did not attack everywhere. Only where betrayal had begun. Alien admirals begged the Galactic Council for orders. There was no answer. Council worlds went silent as human fleets arrived without warning. Defense grids that once terrified smaller species failed within minutes. Human weapons adapted instantly, learning shield patterns and rewriting attack codes mid-battle. Alien commanders finally understood. Humanity had not been preparing for revenge. Humanity had been preparing for certainty. On one shattered battlefield, a surviving alien captain opened a channel. His voice shook. "Why?" he asked. "We could have ruled together." A human commander answered at last. His voice was calm. Almost tired. "We offered peace," he said. "You answered with betrayal." The channel closed. Moments later, the alien fleet ceased to exist. News spread across the galaxy like fire. Entire armadas gone. Council strongholds destroyed. Systems locked down by invisible human fleets that appeared and vanished at will. Trade routes collapsed. Military powers that once mocked Earth now scrambled to defend themselves. The stars burned with wreckage. And through it all, humanity did not celebrate. On Earth, there were no cheers. No victory parades. Families watched quiet screens as reports arrived. Human leaders stood still, knowing this was not glory. This was survival. A young officer asked the question many were thinking. How far do we go? The senior commander looked at the star map. Red markers faded one by one as enemy fleets disappeared. We stop, he said, when betrayal is no longer possible. As if hearing those words, the remaining alien powers did something unthinkable. They surrendered. Emergency messages flooded human channels. Worlds offered resources, territory, hostages, anything. The same species that once laughed at humanity now begged for mercy. Humanity accepted none of it. Instead, a single broadcast was sent across every known system. It was translated into every language. It contained only one sentence. This is the cost of betrayal. After that, the human fleet stopped advancing. They did not occupy worlds. They did not conquer territory. They simply remained, silent, watching, impossible to ignore. The galaxy finally understood the truth. Humanity had never wanted to rule the stars. But it would never allow itself to be betrayed again. And as the last fires of battle faded, one thing was clear to everyone who still lived among the stars. The moment humanity was betrayed, the galaxy changed forever. The war ended as quietly as it had begun. Human fleets did not chase the last fleeing ships. They did not bomb surrendered worlds. When the final alien armada powered down its weapons, the human warships simply stopped. They stayed. Dark shapes hanging in space. Silent. Watching. Across the galaxy, leaders struggled to understand this new reality. Empires that once ruled for thousands of years now waited nervously for a single human signal. Trade lanes stood empty. Councils dissolved overnight. Old alliances meant nothing anymore. The Galactic Council, the same body that had ordered humanity's correction, officially collapsed. Its great halls were abandoned. Records were erased. No species wanted to be linked to the betrayal that had nearly destroyed them all. On Earth, there were no celebrations. Cities did not fill with cheering crowds. There were no victory banners in the sky. Humanity mourned first. Names of lost colonies were spoken quietly. Moments of silence were held for those who never made it home. Humanity remembered the cost. In a final meeting, human leaders gathered once more. The same commander stood before the star map, now calm and clear. No enemy markers remained. We have been offered power, one leader said. Control, said another. The galaxy fears us. The commander shook his head. We did not fight to be feared, he replied. We fought so this never happens again. A single message was prepared. Not a threat. Not a demand. A rule. It was broadcast across every system, translated into every known language. Humanity seeks peace. Humanity welcomes cooperation. But betrayal will be answered. Always. That was all. Human fleets began to withdraw. Not all of them. Some remained, stationed far from human worlds, silent guardians in deep space. They did not interfere. They did not rule. Their presence alone was enough. The galaxy adapted. New councils formed, smaller and cautious. Treaties were written with care, every word examined twice. Military doctrines changed overnight. No species planned attacks on human space ever again. Children across alien worlds grew up hearing the same story. Once, the galaxy betrayed humanity. And the stars burned in response. To them, humans became something new. Not monsters. Not conquerors. But a warning written into history itself. On Earth, life slowly returned to normal. Shipyards powered down. Emergency systems rested again. Humanity did not grow arrogant. It grew careful. A young cadet once asked an old admiral, "Why did we stop? We could have ruled everything." The admiral looked at the stars and smiled softly. "Because ruling through fear always leads back to betrayal," he said. "We chose something better." Far away, deep in space, ancient human warships drifted silently. Their lights dim. Their weapons cold. Ready, but waiting. The galaxy slept uneasily, knowing the truth now. Humanity does not seek war. Humanity does not forget kindness. But humanity never forgets betrayal. And so, the stars remained quiet. Not because humanity was weak.